Hello and welcome. Chris from Missouri here, bringing you another video about vintage baseball cards. In this video, I'm going to show you some cards, and I'm excited to show you these cards. These are the cards that I picked up in Strongsville, Ohio at an all-vintage card show. I picked up a buddy of mine named Brent and a friend of mine named Tom, and we were on a 10.5-hour trek to this card show. But it did not disappoint. You know, I've talked on other videos, and I will talk on another I don't know when I'll be finished doing these Strongsville recaps, but today I'm just going to show you some cards and talk just a little bit. But it was, for those of you that are just watching this show, one, I'm sorry, but two, you can see some other videos on Strongsville recap. It was a great vintage-only card show. There was a few Patrick Mahomes cards there that were graded, and I think my buddy picked up 2 of 3 of them. But anyway, I set on and set on trying to pick up vintage cards. Now, I did a show earlier, one of my videos, that I put out my strategy for Strongsville, and looking back at it, I actually did pretty good. I said I wanted to pick up what I consider a big card. Well, I didn't pick up the biggest card that I possibly wanted to, but I did pick up one that was on my list. And then I said I was going to do some player runs, and so I brought a list of players that I needed. And then I kind of deviated a little bit because there was so much there. And anyway, I spent a good deal of time buying some cards. Now, I was in a good mood when I was there the whole time, and I love shopping for cards when I'm in a good mood. Now, some people, they have an us against them mentality about I'm the one buying and I'm against the dealer, and they almost like a boxing match. They're in a corner. They put their mouthpiece in before they walk into the show. They hit their gloves and say, "All right, I'm in here. I'm going for it." And I'm not gonna do that. And I'm not driving 10.5 hours to be fighting over cards. And I'm not gonna lose a card over $5 or $10. If it's way over comp, I'm just not gonna buy it. But here I go. I'm gonna show you these cards, and I hope you can tell in my voice how excited I am to bring these into my collection. And if you can't tell, then I shouldn't be collecting cards, because man, this was fun. So I got a lot of gifts, and I really don't have time to show you some of them. I'm not downplaying them, but this is a picture drawn or painted by my friend Scott at Reindeer Studios. Look over at his channel, and maybe you too can pick up some of this. But this is Bobby Witt of the Kansas City Royals. So the first card, I'm going from newest to oldest, but this David Ortiz rookie. I just need the Joe Mauer to finish the post-war rookie Hall of Famers. Now this is going to look a little bit out of place when I show you the rest of these cards, but let me get this down here. Okay, 1963, Orlando Cepeda. Now, 57, Enos Slaughter, just for player runs, guys. 1955, Bowman, Whitey Ford. Look at this wonderful Minnie Minoso. '54 Bowman, Larry Doby. Beautiful card. Little off center, but man, beautiful card. Last year at the Strongsville show, I was looking for this card and a PSA holder for my friend Mike Moynihan baseball collector. This year I picked it up for me. 1952 Topps Duke Snider. Working on that player run. One of my goals was to pick up one of these cards, and I love it. This is a Bob Lemon, but I love this card because Strongsville is basically Cleveland, and Bob Lemon, when I think of Cleveland team, I think of Bob Lemon. This beautiful Bob Feller, another Cleveland player. Getting closer and closer to finishing my Bob Feller basic set run. Now look at this card. Luke Appling. Now, I owe my buddy John 3D 80s Kids a little bit of money in a trade that I shortened him with some cash when I sent him some stuff. And he asked me to look for a Joe Gordon card. Now, he might not want this one, but if he doesn't want this one, I surely do. Beautiful card. Hope that finishes off my debt, but it does not matter. 1941 play ball, Hank Greenberg. That's a little shout out right there to B. Roth, who I met for the, I probably met him before, but got to visit with him a little bit. So 1940 play ball, Grover Alexander. Heine Manouche. I picked up a couple of his cards. Paul Wainer. Nothing just huge so far. Nothing that just broke the bank. I just walked from case to case, and I was like a little kid. Little Joe Cronin. I had that in my collection before, but I accidentally sold it at a card show. So I got one back. Goose Goslin. Look at that card. Another Heine Manouche. Earl Averill. So now getting down to, nothing like just crushing, but look at this 33 DeLong. I looked for a Lou Gehrig. I found a couple Lou Gehrigs, but this is Pie Trainer. I found a couple Lou Gehrig 33 DeLongs, but I couldn't pull the trigger. So I did come home with a York Caramel. And these 1921 Oxford confection cards. These are a couple of my favorites. That's George Sisler. And this is Grover Alexander. Look at those cards. I came home with a couple exhibit cards. I'd picked up a nice Mickey Mantle exhibit, and I have a few of them, but look at this Willie Mays. Beautiful card. It was hard for the dealer to make this deal with me on these two cards, but look at this Hank Aaron. He had them priced that he didn't want to give them away so easily. And, but let me show you my one is probably the best card I picked up at this show. And it is the 1948 Leaf Joe DiMaggio. Now, I really like this card. It was one of my big cards that was on my list that I wanted to check off. And, man, I just love it. Now, my favorite card that I picked up, and I got it from one of my best friends. And what's cool about it is I got it at Strongsville, which is just 10 miles from Cleveland. And it's Larry Doby. And I just love this card, knowing where I got it, who I got it from, and when I got it. Now listen, I know that was a lot of cards and I showed them too fast, and I get that when people critique me on that, but I just hate taking up so much of your time. Now, if you didn't go to Strongsville, and you missed out on a great show, and missed out on some great cards. What was so neat about it, it was vintage cards on steroids. And the meeting other YouTubers there, and just watching my friend Brent and Tom. Brent both of them have been to the National many a time, but none of them, either one, had been to an all vintage show like this. I would say 99% vintage. The other thing is the people that were there were 99% vintage. There was not very many, and I said this on a video last year, there wasn't very many young kids there. There were some with their dads and mom and dads, and that was great. But, what a great time. And this is probably number 2 of maybe 3 recaps from Strongsville. Guys, I look forward to seeing you, YouTubers and non-YouTubers, at another card show soon. And remember, guys, it's just a hobby. Collect what you like.